place where you belong. Give you strength to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review for tonight's match preview of Chelsea versus Newcastle United, of course, at Stamford Bridge with a 2 p.m. kickoff. Matchday Live will start right on this channel at 1:30 with half an hour's build-up with team news, etc. I don't know whether I'm looking forward to the game or not. I don't know whether the guys are, but we'll find out in due course. But anyway, if you do enjoy tonight's show, as usual, please do give it the thumbs up. We still really need them coming in to help us across the search results on YouTube. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, why not come and join a fantastic community here on the Toon Review by hitting the subscribe button. It's free to do so. And just make sure you hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. And of course, you can support the channel in the usual two ways. First of all, via membership, which is the join button just underneath the three of us. And of course, super chats. That's the $ under the live comments. And that will guarantee your comment to be read out on the show as well. Good evening, everybody. And a good evening return to Mr. Billy Bob.
Yeah, good evening to everyone. Good evening to everyone in Viewerland. Nice to be back.
It's nice to have you back, mate. It's obviously since Monday since we've seen you, a bit laid up, but you're back there, sort of health.
Yeah, I'm better than I was. A lot better.
Yeah. Indeed. Alex, busy drive for you coming home from work tonight, but you made it on time.
I did. I know. I've been down to Somerset.
You were in before me, but let's not dwell on that. Alex had a 100-odd mile drive. I had to come next door. But Alex got here before me. But there you go. Chelsea at the weekend, guys. I mean, how are we feeling? Billy, we'll start with you. I mean, we'll be commentating as usual on the game. It's like I said at the start, I'm not sure about this one at all. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Well, generally, if you're playing a team that's playing Europa League or conference football on the Thursday, you can kind of, especially if they go to Greece to do it, you think that maybe there'd be a bit of tiredness, fatigue.
Yeah.
But Chelsea are playing a completely different side to what we'll play on Sunday. So,
yeah, they are.
I'm not looking forward to it. They'll be well vested, and Stamford Bridge isn't one of our happy hunting holes. I'm not particularly looking forward to this one, I've got to say.
Alex, I mean, you know, we look back to last season, of course, the Carabao Cup defeat when we really should have won that game, and it was an unfortunate error from Trippier, which led to their score and the equaliser, and obviously went on to win on penalties. I'm not sure. I mean, are you confident this Sunday, or are you kind of on the fence a little bit, or do you think, are you dreading the worst?
I'm okay. I'm all right with it. I'm not too bad. I think everybody, I say everybody, a lot of people have gone massively over the top with the Brighton game. About again,
Alex, I think you're on your computer mic.
I'm on the wrong mic again. Sorry, let me change that real quick. Here we go. That should sound a little bit.
That's much better.
Okay. So I think True Geordie put something on the kickoff today. I haven't watched it, but the headline was like that we're rubbish or something. I don't know. I didn't listen to it. I am getting a little bit bored of the narrative because there was absolutely nothing wrong with 90% of how we played against Brighton. What we needed to do was take Anthony Gordon, Isak, and preferably Jacob or some of the forwards, sit him in a room, close the door, and put a slideshow presentation on of a barn door and have 150 slides of barn doors and say that is what we need to work on for the Chelsea game, and the second Chelsea game, because everything else was fine. Okay, Fabian can sit in his own room and do something else because he needs a bit of something, but it's just about barn doors. So if we can play as well in the rest of the pitch, we'll be all right. We're in with a chance, but people have got to take their chances because it's no good playing well if we can't get it in the back of the net. We can't get ever more than a point from a 0-0 draw if we just can't score. So
yeah. I mean, that would have been really funny, actually, had somebody took photos in training of Eddie bringing in like 4 or 5 barn doors for the strikers to try and hit. I think that would have got the message through that they're not doing the job. I mean, look, Callum Wilson, Billy, he hasn't been pictured in training. I did a new show earlier on today, so if you haven't seen that, go and watch that after the show. But it looks very much like he's not involved in training with the main group. Eddie said that last week that he wasn't in training with the main group until probably this week. But it looks like he's not going to feature again. Unless the fast told the photographer not to take a photo of Callum Wilson.
Well, I just don't see that happening because, I mean, is there really any benefit of making out Callum Wilson isn't ready, then plonk him on the bench, which where he'll be? Yeah. We're not going to see Callum Wilson until next month at the very earliest. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was near Christmas. Just write him off until he sits on the bench, basically.
Dylan says he's missing the next 3 games. I mean, look, I'm really past it with Callum now. I'm sorry, but it's getting to a stage where it's not even funny anymore. You know, I mean, it's just ridiculous. All these setbacks and stuff like that. I mean, how often are we going to listen to Eddie in his press conferences, sit there and say, this happened, or he's due back, and then it just carries on, Alex. It just doesn't seem to end.
Look, ultimately, it's not personal. I like Callum Wilson. Most of us like Callum Wilson, but I like Newcastle more.
Yeah.
And at the moment, he's a detriment to the club with his unavailability. As harsh as that sounds. And as
technically, we've only got 1 striker now, Alex, because he's got no plans to play Asula, has he? So it's not like he's going to play Asula if anything happens to our main striker.
Well, yeah, even if Isak's injured, he's shown that he's not going to start Asula yet. He might do sort of start of next year if we get some progress out of him. But yeah, and again, if Callum hates me and other people who say that, fine, whatever. But it's a detriment to the club right now because he's never available. He was available for our club friendly against Spurs in Oz. Oh, yippee. And then we've not seen him since. So that was in May.
Yeah.
22nd of May. And then we got a bit out of him towards the end of the season. We got a goal in the 5-1 win against Sheffield United, a goal in the 4-1 win away against Burnley, and then he played against Brentford. So he got the run in towards the end of the season, chipped him with a couple of goals. We thought maybe he was back, and ping, he went again. So,
apparently it's muscle tightness, Alex, that he's out with.
I don't care anymore. I don't care. I don't care.
Exactly
it's your job. It's your job now. And if your body's letting you down this much, we're a Premier League club with ambition. This wouldn't be acceptable if we were fighting relegation now. It's a detriment to the club because of a lack of availability. You know, we're happy to support players when they get injured, but it's getting to a point where he's just never, ever, ever available. I've backed Callum Wilson so much over the last 3 years against people that wanted to bin him off in every transfer window in the last 3 years. And I'm probably now at the end of my tether with it as well. I really like the guy. I like his style of football and his finishing, fox in the box. He can do bicycle kicks and chips. He's great, but he's never available. So we need someone else.
It's actually annoying. It really is. Ian Toon Trader, thank you very much, mate, for your super chat. The only ability is availability, and Callum is not. I mean, Billy, the thing is, he's struggling to get fit training-wise, okay? So, you know, he's suffering with all this muscle tightness. And we expect him to get fit and stay fit in the Premier League with all the rigors that entails? I just don't think so.
No, I don't either. It's hard to predict the future with him, but it's not, is it? Because it's a recurring story over and over and over again. We've all wanted him to stay fit for a long, sustained period of time, and it's never happened for the lad. And when he has had a sustained period of time in the team, he scores lots of goals, so it's a massive loss for us.
Yeah,
but I think we've resigned ourselves now to the fact that he's never going to be a starter for us again. And I think as soon as his contract finishes, he'll be on his way. And if not, maybe get rid of him in January.
DK35 says, agreed with most of what True Geordie said. To be fair, I would definitely be recruiting in January for club overall benefit, not necessarily for what Eddie Howe wants. Muscle tightness when he's not played for 6 months is ridiculous. I mean, look, if it's a muscle injury, yes, he's going to suffer tightness, but you would think this far down the line, it is absolutely crazy. Stephen says, I've mentally noted Callum as leaving the club last summer to avoid disappointment. Norvik says, the more goes on with Callum Wilson, the more I am convinced that he is refusing to play, in my honest opinion.
One thing you can't accuse him of is not being professional. So I don't think that's true.
Yvonne says Isak is going to get frustrated, so is it any wonder cracks appear in terms of his manager talking about looking elsewhere for his services? There is rumours that Isak isn't keen on signing a new contract. I don't know how much we read into that at the minute. I think, we just get on with it. Joe says, if the rumours are true that Isak doesn't want to stay, do we sell and use the money to buy a couple of decent forwards? In my opinion, if they don't want to play for the Toon, show them the door. I mean, he hasn't exactly given us anything this season, Isak, and I think a lot of fans are starting to maybe realise that he's not performing this season, and he needs to be better. And if things are going on behind the scenes, people are saying he's had his head turned, Alex. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I genuinely think that it's just ridiculous to even speculate, because if you look at all of the media surrounding the Anthony Gordon situation, I would say 95% of it was absolute I don't want to be overly harsh to people, but it was lies. It was made up, as proven by what's just occurred. There might have been some articles out there by some journalists suggesting, people who were talking about we floated him because of PSR. Yeah, I mean, that's probably quite realistic, probably happened. But then there were the ones all about heads turned, and the ones that went really deep into character assassination and to stepping up from the club. They were just, it was 95% nonsense. And so in regards to Isak, I'm not willing to read. I mean, everybody who's watched the Toon review in the last few days knows my opinion on journalists right now. I'm taking a step back and just trying to make my own opinion on stuff, because I'm so bored of being led down different rabbit holes. For a lot of it's paid content and nonsense. I don't know. I think Isak may be struggling a bit physically. There's no rotation option for him. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll click at some point.
It's that long-standing rhetoric that journalists, not necessarily local journalists, but national ones, keep kind of talking about, cherry-picking our best players and selling them off to the cartels for. It really angers me. I wouldn't take any notice of it until it's kind of open and Newcastle United have sort of put him on the market, whatever, but I don't think so. I think once he gets a goal or two and he starts scoring goals again, all this nonsense will be forgotten about and we'll just carry on as we were.
Yeah. Daley Thompson says, can you please do a shout out for Paul Thompson? Billy, do you want to do the honours with that one?
Well, Paul, hope you are, mate. Is that the athlete, Daley Thompson?
I don't think so, mate. Ian says, cut Wilson's wages as in every other employment. See him suddenly be available. Well, we know football works in very different ways to other employment. I mean, look, if he was out on the sick from a job, as long as he's been out, I don't think he would be in that job anymore. If we were talking about, reality, but football isn't reality, is it? It's a very different world. But yeah, look, I agree with Alex. I like Callum Wilson, as a player, as does Billy. We know what he's capable of, but we're not seeing it. We can't get it from him. So as a fan, if somebody asked me, would I sell him in January, I'd get him out. Yeah. Just
see, can I just mention something, Paul? Foxy said the thing that does keep happening, and he's right, that he'll come back, he'll score a couple of goals, and the fan base will flip-flop and ask for 1 year more. This is what I am now against. I am now drawing a line in the sand and saying no, new chapter for both.
Yeah.
If he comes back and gets a hat trick and scores a bunch on the bounce, it's done. Damage is done. It's over for me anyway.
Corden, sorry, Isak goes in the summer. He's not going to hang around while we bounce around mid-table. Look, I mean, listen, you're talking there, Corden, as if this guy is performing above everybody else and has a right just to say, oh, well, I'm not sticking around if we're not doing this. He is not doing anything for Newcastle United this season. He's been very, very poor. So he doesn't really have the right to say that. He's had a good season last year, but he's been rubbish this year. He's done nothing. So it really, in my opinion, he's not at that stage where he can say, oh, well, you know, we've been terrible, so I'm not hanging around because we're in mid-table. He's to blame for that as well as the other players and the manager. You know, we are in the table where we are, but we're a team. And if everybody keeps saying from the dressing room, oh, we're a team, we win, we lose and draw together, then he has no right to say that because he's part of this team that isn't quite getting it right this season, and his main job is to put the ball in the back of the net. Billy,
I'm not sure he is saying any of that, but
no. But if he is, this is all hypothetical, Alex. Don't get me wrong. This is hypothetical. But if he is, I don't think he's in a position to say that, Billy.
I don't think he would. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he would say that. I think he'd appreciate more than anyone that he hasn't been on anywhere near top form, and his finishing has been quite poor this year.
Yeah.
If he'd have scored half the chances that he's had, maybe he would be still in that top four. So, you know, it's kind of rough if he has said that, but I don't believe that either. So,
I mean, Julie's right there. There's been rumours about every player's new contract in the last 8 months, and it's furthermore to what you, what you guys have been saying about the journalists and stuff like that, just putting things out, and they're not true. I mean, we've seen some ridiculous reporting. You know, I mean, Alex showed one up from Lee Ryder yesterday on last night's show. Just ridiculous.
About a transfer ban in the headline.
I mean,
that we had a transfer ban.
Yeah, sorry. I feel like if Arsenal want him, I'd sell Isak now. I'm worried about Tonali going back to his old club as they want him back, according to reports. Yeah, but according to reports, again, it's these reports that are always going to be hanging around our top players to just make stories, and it's pissing annoying, Alex.
For everybody as well, just remember, this is win-win, because if any of this is true, we make bank on those players. Absolute bank. We don't sell Isak unless it's for a lot more than we paid for him, or we say go fish and we keep him. He would be, surely most players would be understanding of that situation as well, is that the club needs to make a profit on the player. We can't let them go for nothing.
Well, PAB, Alex, on this, well, Craig Hope said it. His agent has said that the player doesn't want to re-sign because the project isn't what was promised.
His agent, okay, who's he said that to?
Well, Craig Hope, I wouldn't imagine. Well, if Craig Hope said it, he's got it from somewhere.
Do we have the eyes on the inside as to what Isak and the agent were promised originally, do we?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I respect Craig Hope, but I personally, a lot of this has been wrong regarding contracts. So I'm bored of it, because I don't want to breathe life into stories to, bring all of you watching down the garden path with something that might not be true. I'd rather we just talked about the reality of football. This is not Coronation Street. This is football. It's not drama. It's football. It's business and sport mixed together. It's not.
Can we have one of Alex's hot shots, please?
Alex eats his hot pots raw. I'm telling you. DK35, thank you for your super chat. Can we not play Bruno off Isak like we did with Kabay in the 10?
We could, but I mean, who
but I think Kabay was a different kind of player, wasn't he? I mean, Bruno. Well, was he? I don't know. I loved Kabay. He was one. I thought he was fantastic.
Great player.
But I
dirty bastard, a good player.
Yeah, but we needed a bit of nastiness, didn't we? And I think he brought it full barrel. I mean, if you're looking at Sunday and trying to do anything regarding changes, I mean, we spoke about this many times, Billy. Changing the tactics or formation is something that, I mean, Eddie says he tweaks the tactics, but formation-wise, it's very much the same thing.
Yeah, it's either low block and counter or try and press and win at the other end of the pitch. But
yeah,
I mean, we've got to have pace in the side. We've got to defend really well Sunday to get anything out of the game first and foremost. Because the one thing they have got is lots of pace up front. Some excellent players, and it's not going to be easy for us. But if we defend well, we can get something out of the game. It's as simple as that for me.
Yeah, but that's a big statement, Billy. The two words defend and well.
Well, yeah, I mean, Lewis Hall's defended well this season, I think.
But we're very prone to switching off, aren't we? That 1 second of concentration that let us down. And we, when we're talking about Chelsea, they've got some players in that team who will kill us if we do that.
It is, but usually it's against sides that we kind of expecting to beat when they do switch off. So these big games, I think we tend to perform better in. Against the supposed cartel.
Which boards more questions as to why they up the game when we're playing against the top teams and they can't do it against the lower teams in the league. Ian Toon says, thank you for your super chat again. And this is a joke, Alex. Alex is TDR's version of Roy Cropper. Hey, did you see him in the crowd at Southampton last week?
Roy Cropper?
Aye. Obviously his name's not Roy Cropper. He's an actor, but he was in the Leicester fans, and he was properly going for it, like when they scored the goals and won the game in the last minute of the game, didn't it? It was fantastic to see. Good on him.
No, it's all right, Ian. Not all of us can be the Northeast Sports Direct Gandalf.
Oh, shots fired! Ah, dear. I love the banter you used to have. 80s Gamer says, the club is falling apart. Sack Eddie Howe now before we lose Isak and fail to qualify for Europe. Well, there is people wanting Eddie Howe out. I don't think we can we sit here and deny that that's not the case. There is quite a few of our viewers who do want Eddie out as well. I mean, if we do go to Chelsea and get absolutely gubbed, Alex, I mean, people are starting to cross the fence, aren't they? Because, it just doesn't make sense why we're not scoring goals when we've got so much talent in that team.
It depends on the performance for me again.
Yeah.
Very much depends on the performance, because I saw a better performance against Brighton, where it was a good one against Man City. I think the team are starting to click in terms of tactics and system and energy and pressing. It was one lapse of concentration from Fabian Schär and a massive issue with finishing. So if we can keep the back four switched on and actually put away some chances, we could go on a run of games where we win matches. Yeah. I am not willing at this point to start panicking, because the performances, the underlying numbers of our performances have improved significantly. So I'm not at that point. I'm not just going to look at the final score and go, because that's not, there's much more context to it than that. It very much depends on how we line up. And Chelsea, bearing in mind, is a very dangerous team to play. So we'll see where we are at the end.
They have improved this season. There's nobody's doubting that they have improved. The manager's got them going.
Whether people like or don't like Eddie Howe, he's got time in the bank. So I feel like you've got to let him get through the Christmas period and reassess at the start of January. And then there's even an argument to be made that we didn't really sign anybody for him in the summer, which is not really his fault. So they'll probably give him some signings in January.
That's the main argument that's coming from a lot of Eddie's fans, is that he wasn't supported in the summer. So what's he supposed to do? But I think it's his in-game management and things like that people are looking at as well now.
Yeah, there's definitely things to improve, definitely problems, but the overall performances suggest that it's fine. We just, again, they need to watch the PowerPoint of the barn doors. That's what they need to do.
I mean, we've played well the past three weeks. I mean, we've got a draw against Everton, we lost against Brighton, drew against Man City. All three games, I thought at times we played some really good stuff. So it has improved performance-wise. Unfortunately, when the performances got better, the results have gone down the pan. So
it's been more clinical, isn't it? And actually consistency. We tend to. I mean, how many times have we done the commentary this season, Billy, when we've said it's been a fantastic first 15 minutes, and then it just sort of dies off. Maybe apart from Fulham, which was just awful.
But there were loads of people happy at the start of the season. 2 games in. Or a few games in, they were like, oh, cheeky point away at Bournemouth. Oh, we managed to dig in. And, that's what the good teams do, is they lose when they get points when they're down. and everybody was really happy that we were scraping points with awful performances. And now we've improved the performances. A lot of people are. It baffles me. It really baffles me.
Graham says, sorry, but if you don't want a soap opera, don't follow football, Alex. Forest has driven me mental for 55 years.
But at least you've had a couple of Champions Leagues and loads of League Cups to kind of celebrate.
Kevin says the goals we've conceded against Brighton, Wolves, Bournemouth have been Championship standard defending. I'm not sure we'd even start Championship. Some of the goals we've conceded this season. Isak is contracted for a few years yet, so stick a high buyout clause and cash in. Anthony
you can't just stick in a high buyout clause without them agreeing to it, unfortunately.
Exactly, yeah. A few games in and people already writing off Isak. Some here are balmy. I'm not writing him off. I think he's an incredible footballer, but he hasn't done it this season. If we're openly honest, Anthony, he hasn't done it this season. He needs to improve. But we all know, we've all seen what the man's capable of. He's a fantastic footballer and a very good finisher normally. But at the moment, there's just something missing from his game. But listen, everybody suffers from form dips. And it seems like a lot of our players have suffered from form dips very quickly this season. But that's, the manager's got to get them on the training field. He's got to work with them. He's got to get through this. They've got to get through it together and on an individual basis and start hitting the back of the net. And like Billy says, Isak gets a couple of goals. That'll do wonders for his confidence because we know when Isak's full of confidence and he's playing well, he's untouchable as a footballer. So I wouldn't panic just yet. I think he'll come good. Ian Toon Trader, another super chat says 100% agree. Alex, Eddie needs backing to move forward. Anthony says Gordon as a 10 won't work. He relies on his pace. So what would he do? Just make runs through the centre? Isak relies on that too. Look, if we're talking about Sunday's game, Billy, I mean, do you think Eddie will change anything up? Or will he just go 4-3-3 again?
I think it'll be a more defensive version. I think it'll be more like the Arsenal version last year.
Oh, we're not parking the bus, are we, Billy? Please
don't. I think, but he did it twice last season, didn't he? He did it in the Carabao Cup game. We got an early goal and sat on it. So, yeah, I don't see him changing. But
I don't think we're a team that can park the bus.
I totally agree with you. Because there's a mistake in us at the back. So
yeah.
That's how I see it'll happen. I don't want it to be like that. I want to start to go for them and have a go at them. Put a bit of pressure on them and press them and do that. But I would say it's been a bit passive, if I'm perfectly honest.
Alex, what do you reckon?
I mean, based on the squad they're using tonight against Panathinaikos in Europe, I would say they're going to try and play for control of the game, possession, fast attacks with Jackson and Palmer, and they're going to try and it's their game. They want it to be their game. So I would probably predict more of a Tottenham approach in terms of how we played against Tottenham. Although I think we do have the personnel to try and go there and wrestle the game from them. That's tough. They just played Liverpool and they did very well against Liverpool. Chelsea did.
I thought Chelsea played really well at Anfield. Actually, I don't. It was the normal for me. People didn't give them the praise that I thought they deserved, really, because I thought Chelsea were very much in that game and were unlucky to come away with a defeat. So they are playing well. There's no doubt about that. We are up against it. It's not even
just about playing well. It's they just are a good team. People just remember them from sort of last year when things weren't clicking, when there was too many players, and they've not moved on from that. They are now a very good team. They are a really good. They've got a good system. A lot of the out of possession stuff Maresca was implementing against Liverpool was really, really impressive. The creativity they've got. Palmer, I appreciate the game for England was shocking, but Palmer for Chelsea is literally an alien. He's a cheat code. So we have to. The players have to go in this mentally into this game like it's Man City. They have to be fired up for it.
Everybody wrote Nicholas Jackson off last season, didn't they? Thinking, he's crap, but he's banging them in this year.
He's still raw as well. He's still raw. He's nowhere near his ceiling yet. He's got rapid pace, hasn't he? We've got to be really careful of getting caught on that transition with him in the side.
Yeah. DK35 says, are there any good free agents about, or possibly loans in January? Seen the video earlier on Gula. Well, look, I mean, apparently Mitchell has made, again, we'll say this apparently, that the Gula might be available for a loan deal. Ancelotti might be open to the move because he can't get regular first-team football at the moment because there is some absolute superstars ahead of him in the rankings at the minute. So he wants him to continue his education, I guess, his football education. And why not in the Premier League? It wouldn't be such a bad move. It'd be great for us. But that one we'll just have to see on. I could understand, though, if he does go out on loan. Michael McIntyre, thank you for your super chat. Lady Sam, you can call me what you want. Toon. No idea what that's about. Geordie Hendo says, I can't blame Isak with not wanting to sign at the moment. The club needs to make moves that reflect the intent to be number one. But we don't know if they are doing that behind the scenes.
We can't, can we? Simply rules against us doing that. So
yeah.
It wasn't that we didn't want to do that. It's that the higher ups in the club predicted sales of players like Miggy or Wilson or whoever that didn't happen, and then we got massively sideswiped by PSR. Had to sell players we didn't want to sell, and then changed all the structure of the club. Got new. Dan Ashworth went wrong, and we got someone else in. The window didn't work. The club are pretty aware that this wasn't perfect. This was not Plan A, probably not even Plan B or C. It's fine. We've just got to restudy the ship and go for it in the next few windows. That's all we can do.
Kev says there's absolutely nothing to suggest we'll be any better on Sunday. This isn't the game where things suddenly change. Not away at Stamford Bridge. I'd expect a loss. Sorry.
Can I respond to that? Because I think that's absolute nonsense to say. Well, go back to it. What did it say word for word? Because I don't want to misquote him. There's absolutely nothing to suggest we'll be any better. So you're suggesting that they're not going to go in and talk about the finishing? That there's going to be no training ground practice on improving on 35 shots?
No, I know
that's nonsense.
I know where you're coming from, Alex, but I also know where Kev's coming from there, because if you look at the matches, which I think Kev is referring to, not the training, but the matches, if we're going into this game, we can't go into it confident because of the way the previous games have gone.
I'm not saying we need to go into it confident.
That's more so what he means.
We'd go into it under the assumption that the performances have been getting better and better and better, and we can't keep shooting and not scoring. We'll score at some point, and they will have gone in and worked on the breakdown of those final moves versus Everton and Brighton. We will have worked on that, surely. If we've not worked on that in the last week, then Eddie Howe doesn't deserve his paycheck at the end of the month. Yeah. Because that is literally the job, is for the coaches to go in and make sure they improve on bits.
Yeah, we need to see a much more cutthroat in front of goal, but we also need the bloody set pieces to be better, because they've been trash this season. JV says he has recently broke his toe, for fuck's sake. He won't fire on all cylinders till that's healed completely. And that may not be yet, as he has been playing with it. Well, Eddie said last week that he was in no pain at all. It had healed. He wasn't in any pain at all. And he, the first few games of the season, he wasn't playing with a broken toe, and he was. So I think trying to use that as an excuse, I'm not sure when your manager comes out in the press conference and says he had no pain at all, wasn't feeling it. Not for me. I just think his form's out. It's nothing to do with his toe.
It's interesting to say that they may well have been working on finishing this week. But that might not come into fruition Sunday. Their keeper could have a blinder who could hit the post. It could be stuff deflected away. But at set pieces, you should be able to see an improvement in that. And if there's not, and if it's as trash it's always been, then I'm sorry. I think you need to kind of relegate the man that's doing that coaching and give him a less of a role.
When's the press conference? Is it
tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning. Please, if anybody is watching from any publication, please ask about the corners. Somebody needs to ask about
Alex,
the corners.
you know as well as my arse is hairy that will not happen. We will not get questions regarding tactics. It never happens.
It's so bad. It's free kicks as well. It's free kicks from the halfway line. We get caught out by the high line, get caught offside all of the time. It's direct free kicks when all they do is shoot. That's it.
But when there's teams in the league like Brentford who are coming up with refreshing creative ideas with interesting set piece coaches and they're smashing the European charts for set piece goals. I'm not asking for us to be the best at set pieces, but can we just do something with set pieces? Just something. Get us a few points every 10 games. Or every 15 games, just something.
Put Tonali on set pieces. It's as simple as that. We've all said it on here. We all keep referring back to that youth championships that he played in a couple of seasons ago, where every single set piece he took, it was finding an Italian head. Mind you, what Italy did have was somebody who knew how to train set pieces. They didn't just pump it up to Dan Burn or whoever was at the back post for a header back across. Nothing like that. They varied it. And Tonali was at the spearhead of that. Every set piece they took was different. It wasn't the same. They mixed it up.
But
you look
it's
at
about
our
the personnel receiving it as well,
yeah.
Paul, though. The height we've got with your Joe Lintons and Burns 100%. And stuff. Like, whether it's the taker or the actual header of the ball. I wasn't going to say receiver then. That's probably not the best way to describe it with Billy in the chat. But it's just, somebody needs to ask about the set pieces in the corners.
But they won't. They very rarely ask about any tactics. Billy, I mean, we watch them all the time. And they very rarely ask about the sudden game, never mind the tactics. It's always about something else.
What did you have for Sunday lunch?
Stop asking questions. You know where this goes.
Yeah.
They just try and make friends with Eddie Howe instead of asking him proper questions. He's not going to come and have lunch with
frustrating. He doesn't have to tell us what his tactics are for Sunday, does he, Billy? It's basically...
I can guarantee you tomorrow that they'll be asking about, it's nice to see a bit of unity in the camp with you and Mitchell with Anthony Gordon. It'll be about Anthony Gordon's contract. That's what it'll be about.
Well, it will be. We all know it will be. We all know that they'll be sat there with the notepads tomorrow with the same.
His target got his E45 cream.
Yeah. There's another one. I mean, Jesus H. Christ. But I just think if we go to Chelsea on Sunday and Eddie parks the bus, right, I think we're in trouble. But I don't want us to go.
We did it against Spurs and we won. So
but that was at St James's. We know it's different away from home, Alex. For some reason things don't work the same way when we're away from home. But look, I don't want us to go gung ho, and I don't want us to park the bus. I want us to be somewhere in the middle where we actually give Chelsea a game, not just give them the ball and say, right, come on to us all the time. Because I really. If we go a goal or, dare I say, 2 goals down against Chelsea, I don't think there's any coming back the way our form's been this season. And the fact that the lack of goals, I don't think there's a comeback. So if we go with the intention to sit back for most of the game, give them possession and then hit them on the break, if they score early doors, we're in trouble.
Yeah, and it's hard for us to kind of change, isn't it, into a more forward-thinking. Once you're in that mode of defending and sitting back and letting them come on to us, it's hard to change out of that. We find it hard to kind of change like that. Some teams do it like a flick of a finger, and on an attacking mode, we don't seem to do that. We seem to go into the game, start and finishing how we started it. Yeah, it's puzzling, and it's
no surprise we're advertising for a new performance analyst.
Yeah. Nick Thornton says we were incredibly lucky against Spurs. To a degree, yes, we were. I was at the game. We were, but. Something's got to click, and listen, we've got some fabulous footballers in that team, right? And it's just about clicking, and it hasn't quite clicked on a consistent basis. There's been times this season where we've played some brilliant football, but I thought the football in the first half against Brighton, yes, Brighton were awful, but we played some brilliant stuff in that first half last week. But it was in the final third, either it was the decision making or the finishing. Both were just not there. I think when we've got Jacob Murphy, everybody loves Jacob Murphy, right? Because he's a Newcastle fan, etc. But he isn't at the same level as the likes of Tonali, etc. I mean, how many times did we say last week, Billy, when we were watching and commentating on the game, that, Tonali would play to Murphy, and Tonali was making some fabulous runs, and Murphy just cut back. He wasn't even on the same wavelength because he doesn't have that kind of quality.
Nor the confidence to try and get involved with it. And when he tries to do things that are out of the ordinary, he just loses the ball. So if there's one name I don't want to see on the team sheet Saturday, it's Jacob Murphy, I've got to say. he should be on the bench at best.
I think he's got to go. Well, we'll come on to it when we do our team selection. But you got a couple of graphics there, Alex.
Depends what you want to see, to be honest. This is
whatever you think's important.
Well, I think this is just finished. It has. So this is the Chelsea game that's just finished. They've just beat Panathinaikos 4-1, and this was the team they used. So this is a completely different 11. 11 changes from the team they used against Liverpool. I will show us the team they used against Liverpool because that's probably more similar to what we will expect to face. So very, very different with Enzo Fernandez, Dewsbury Hall, Neto and Mudryk behind. I mean, this is mental. This is what you do when you're playing FIFA. It's absolutely absurd. It's basically, I'm guessing, one or two sitters. And then I don't really know what this looks like. It's, I don't know. Very odd. Very, very odd. I mean, it worked. There's enough quality in there. They scored a pen. Mudryk got one. João Felix got two. So they've massively overrun them. I mean, average positions-wise, Chelsea looked like a bit of a mess.
By the way, Alex, I think it's important to note that going away to Panathinaikos is not an easy game because...
It's not. They were very good last year.
Yeah, very, but it's the atmosphere as well that those Greek fans, they are very enthusiastic and a difficult environment to go in, and to come away with a 4-1 win, with a second 11, by the way, is quite the result.
So Mark Cucurella went into midfield essentially on average with a back three.
I can't stand him, by the way. I hate his hair for one, but I hate him as a player. I think he's a dirty little shit. And
I hate him as a person.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, because he just kept making jokes about England, didn't he? Because he thinks he's... and he got a massive bee in his bonnet about people saying he wasn't very good. And then because he won the Euros with Spain, he's like, see, I'm actually good.
Well, he's not. He's not. That's why he's not in the
if you're good, you don't have to tell everybody you're good, you know?
Yeah.
A king doesn't have to tell everybody he's a king. He's just a king. It is what it is. And the fact that he's got to show off, it's fine. This is the team they used against Liverpool, which is probably going to be a lot closer to what we will see. I'll have to check availability. I haven't had a chance to do too much digging because I have been out all day, so I do apologise. But I would highly expect to see Jackson and Palmer involved. Madueke, if he's available. I think the left wing has got an option to be rotated. There could be anyone, but I would imagine...
Could be Neto or... I think it'd be between Neto and Sancho, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, but obviously they've just played, so more likely to be Sancho. Sancho was on the bench tonight. You've got Lavia and Caicedo. Caicedo doing very, very well so far this season. Gusto, I think, is a fantastic player. We reviewed him before he signed for Chelsea back in some transfer shows ages ago. Colwell and Adarabiota, we're just going to call him Tossin. I can never say his surname. And then Reece James is apparently not injured anymore. He's got legs.
Well, I read an article today from the Chelsea manager who was talking about Reece James, and of course, I think it was a surprise inclusion against Liverpool, but he said at the present time, he only had 45 minutes to an hour in him. And I think he only played the first half, to be honest. I don't think he came out for the second half. I may be wrong on that, but he certainly didn't play long after half-time, if that's the case. But I watched...
low average age as well. 23 and a half.
Very young team.
Ooh. Considering it's, what they got on the bench last time. Neto, Badiashile, Vega,
it's filth.
Disasi, João Felix, it's absolutely... Who was missing?
It is filth.
Korea Fofana. It's just absurd. I mean, just so we can see who they've actually got available. I mean, this is bonkers for a start. So that's how many strikers they've got. 6 forwards.
It's
Neto's more of a wide
every
forward.
fucking way, isn't it? Really, when you look at what we've got available.
Yeah, that's what happens when you spend £1 billion on transfers over the past 2 years.
That is very true, Billy Trey. That is very true.
It's just so many players. And in terms of how they are playing so far this season, we have top 3 for goals per match, 8th for goals conceded per match. Forest doing very well there with their 0.8. Of course, Forest got a draw against Chelsea recently. So, or was it against? Yeah, it was against Chelsea.
There's a certain midfielder playing very, very well for them at the minute. Looking like prime bloody Messi right now.
4th for expected goals. So, yeah, they look like they're kind of European places standard from most of these metrics. Top 5 for average possession for sort of controlling games. Very high for big chances, 30. Just one behind Liverpool. Big chances missed. 6th for shots on target. Yeah, so they're up there for a lot of the important metrics. 18th for accurate crosses per match, so not doing a lot of crossing. It is a lot more kind of through balls, flicks, tricks, especially with Palmer and players like that. So not as well, although long balls could be an issue with how we've been defending.
Well, Alex, one thing that does worry me about Sunday is pace. Our centre backs are not blessed with pace, and they have bags of it.
Well, they've got shopping trolleys of it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say to you, to be honest, mate. Because I mean, Botman's not exactly much faster than Byrne, and he's still not available for ages. Lloyd Kelly possibly could be an interesting inclusion in this game. I probably don't think he's going to get the nod. I would imagine. Now, correct me.
Certainly, he'll not get the nod centre back. We know who the centre backs are going to be.
Well, before we start tinkering with this, let me know if you agree with this in terms of my thought process. I'm expecting us to play kind of our like A team for the Prem game and rotate for the Cup game. Is that what you guys think is going to happen as well?
Yeah.
I think we have to do that.
I think it's more the same team in both games, to be honest.
I don't think you make a lot of changes for Wednesday. I think he'll still play the big players on Wednesday. I really do. I don't think he'll risk too much because he knows how important this Carabao Cup is. Very important in Newcastle this season, Alex. And you know, I think given the way the season's going at the minute, it sort of importance rises on each point we drop. It does, but you've got to rotate. So you do. I mean, based on the last game, Murphy's got to go and have a seat. So sorry, Jacob, take a seat for now. Anybody else taking a seat out of this lineup for this game? Well, you could possibly see him putting Kelly in for Hall, but I mean, I don't think he'll change the centre backs. Livermento's got to start because Trippier's injured, so he'll not put Kraft in there unless he goes to a 5 at the back, which I think would be suicide, to be honest. Kraft at the back? What, back 5? Back 5. But I mean, it's. I don't like it. Who's going to miss out further up the pitch if he did that? You know, it's. I mean, probably, and yeah, it might be that. Right, let's go get some players. No, because surely a back 3, Kelly comes in to form the back 3. Well, you would think that, but the times he's had the opportunity to do that, he's put Kraft in, hasn't he? Unless right, Kelly was at left back, but well, he wouldn't be. Let's do this funny experiment. Let's do. So what's it going to look like? How many players do we need? Yeah, that's enough players. That would be 11, Alex, I think. So are we doing something like that? Yeah, 5-3-2, a 5-2-3. Yeah. Maybe drop. We can't drop Joe Linton in a game like this. Surely we need him to kick. No. Joe's starting to play hells out of everyone. So, you know, we need that physicality with him and Tonali. We never normally do this unless Joe Linton's going to have that flexible role and kind of be, you know, it's going to be like a very lopsided front 3. We're going to have an asymmetrical system. I mean, Andy asks a very good question here, guys. Question for the panel. If you could only win one game, would it be Saturday or Wednesday? That's a horrible question. It's an awful one. I want to win them both, is my answer. Very well and truly sitting with the fence pole up my backside, sitting in the middle of it. Definitely not swaying. I want to win them both. I mean, Foxy says he can't see us playing a back 5 because he can't hold the ball. Well, but as well. Yeah, but the game plan is lump it long to chase onto. That's what we would do. I don't even know how this would work with the personnel currently fit because, yeah, I don't know. It would be flexible. All right, I'm putting. Sorry, Kelly, you're going back on the bench. We're having a back 4. Yeah. So are we? Is Tonali? Is Sean not getting involved? Sean's going to play in the Carabao Cup. If he drops Tonali for Sean, I will be fucking furious, Alex. You cannot leave. You cannot leave one of your best football and brains and players out. I'm not having this discussion again. I'm not. I hate this part of the show where we have to bring in. Will he drop Tonali for Longstaff? No. Okay, what about Barnes and Gordon on the right? Does Gordon get pushed back over to the right? Is that something that's going to happen again? I think he's got to. Potentially. We've got nothing on the right at the minute. There's no threat from the right at all. At least Barnes would give us a threat from the left. Certainly Gordon from the right. I'd like to see Gordon against Reece James. But they can switch. They can switch, can't they? Yeah. So, you know, they've done that a few times. But
I mean, that's a lot of players. I mean, who's not available? Let's move Trippier out of the way. Let's move Wilson out of the way.
So we've got move Target out the way and all.
Oh yeah. Well,
I think he's still got itchiness.
I don't even know. So Sanusi, Alex Murphy, Harrison, Ruddy. Oh, it was a happy birthday, John, by the way. It's John Ruddy's birthday today.
It is. He's 56 years old.
132.
Got his bus pass.
Steve Middleman says, put Longy in, Paul. We win more than we lose. I did see that stat.
Miley's available.
And when I read that stat, I actually threw up in a bucket. But
Well done from Collux there, saying Miley's available. I think he probably will be. That's a good shout.
He is.
So Miley goes back into this little cluster of players we could choose from. There's not really much to say about this. It's basically do that, unless we could try a really weird thing. Like
we have to play, and this is the thing I've been banging on about all season. When people have been saying, "Oh, yes, but certain people can do a job here and certain people can do a job there." We need our best players on the pitch, right? We haven't got the luxury to say, "Well, we can't play all our best players at once," because we don't have that standard of squad or first 11. We have to put the majority of our best players into the starting lineup. We simply have to. Otherwise, what's the point? We're going backwards if we keep playing the players that we've come to know as dead wood. We have to have them on the pitch. Kieran sent in a super chat saying, if you were doing a 4-3-3, put Tonali as CDM as he gets a +2 on FM25 or FC25, sorry, as it's his preferred position, and Bruno's is centre midfield.
That's quite right. Premier League winner Tonali in my managerial career on FC25.
I can put players anywhere on FC25 and I'm still thinking shit. So, it doesn't matter where I play.
The fact of the matter is, with that side that played against Liverpool last week, the fullbacks are the ones where you get at. Cole on the left, Reece James on the right. And you need your best players out there to have a go at them. So it's got to be Barnes and Gordon, it has to be. Yeah. Although having said that, Almiron has given Cucurella a few problems in the past, hasn't he? So
he has. Peter Garthwaite, thank you for your super chat. There's no point signing in Buemo because Eddie will just play Murphy. And DK35, thank you for yours. I know I could get some grief for this comment, but our midfield should dominate most teams, including Chelsea. What Chelsea midfielder would get in our 3?
Caicedo.
Yeah, I think you'd find a route for Caicedo.
He was fantastic against Liverpool, by the way.
Not just defensively either.
He gets forward now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So we love Joe Linton, but there's a lot missing from his game. He plays because he's an absolute battering ram, and there's nothing like him. He's quite a hybrid player, and when he's on form, he's basically 1.5 people. But then there are games when you can see his things that he's missing in his game. Caicedo's got a lot of different qualities. He still needs to realise his potential, of course, but there's a few of them in that midfield as well, like Lavia and stuff for Chelsea. But
yeah, somebody's saying Palmer's a forward. He's not a midfielder. No. I mean, we're saying that, but if you look at Joe Linton, Tonali, and Bruno, well, just like the rest of them, there's no goals coming from midfield for us.
I don't think.
There's none
anywhere at the minute.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. There's not. A lot of people look to, like Lampard and Gerrards of the past.
I mean,
who were always
the place where the goals have been coming from. He leaves on the bench.
Harvey Barnes.
What was in Barnes? To be fair,
he's top scorer this season. Harvey Barnes.
I really like this comment actually, and it's a disagreement, but I like it. You all gave Southgate nonsense for playing his best players not by position, and you want to do that here. Gordon on the right is not good enough. I kind of agree with you. We are being hypocrites, but
he's better than what Alfred got on the right, isn't he?
I don't really know what else to do. Southgate did have options of decent quality.
Exactly.
We don't have options of decent quality. The drop off here between Gordon and what Miggy and Murphy generally provide us on average is a big difference. I do agree, though. We are being hypocritical, absolutely. But I can't think of anything else better. If anything, if anybody's got a better idea, then please put it in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Thornton, thank you for your super chat. I think Eddie will play Gordon on the left, Miggy on the right for his work rate, and I wouldn't be surprised if Longstaff is in from the start. Oh, God.
Let's do it.
Niall, thank you for your super chat. The front three is not balanced. Sanusi right wing, Gordon left.
Sanusi doesn't play on the right.
He won't play Sanusi.
He's also like 16. Sanusi's not going to play for like 18 months. He's a baby.
I mean, I'm going to throw a little one in here. Kraft at right back and Livramento up front.
Up front?
I mean, well, you know what I mean.
Right back away from you originally threw it from, because that's ridiculous. That's not going to happen.
It's not ridiculous, Alex. It's just
he would do it in a cup game against somebody potentially a lower league opposition if we had no right wingers available. He's not going to do it now because we've got Murphy and Miggy available. But
the way Livramento's been defending of late, I'd rather have him as a forward, to be honest, crossing balls in.
He's got to learn, hasn't he?
Well, of course he has, yeah. LG says Rooney was 16, played for Everton. When you're good enough, age doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, just label one of the best generational talents we've ever had.
Well, who's that other one at Barcelona?
Well, Yamal, but
Yamal, yeah.
A bit different from Sanusi, though, to be honest.
Yeah,
yeah.
He may break through, but there's no. That's a bit different.
Well, he may not either. Jude Perez says, "Start Miggy, give him the chance to prove his worth." Well, he's only had 7 years.
I thought he was halfly dropped last week, to be honest.
Yeah, but we're basing it on a good performance against Wimbledon, Billy. I mean, that's not
when he coming against Everton. Wasn't just the Wimbledon game.
Sure, I'd like to see it at some point, and everybody's.
He's not the answer.
Oh, we know that, Billy. Yeah.
Everybody's going to absolutely hate this, but I would prefer. I want to see at some point a 4-4-2.
Oh, Alex,
I don't even care who's in it.
You absolute tosspot. You're not going to get it, mate. You know you're not.
I know. I don't even care who plays where. Like, if it's got to drop into a 4-2-4 back into like somebody drop into midfield, I don't.
Yeah, well, who's going to be on the right there then?
Longstaff.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'll put you off it.
I don't know. He'd probably play Murphy in this kind of role, but we don't have the players to do this anymore. But
what would happen there is Bruno and Tonali get everyone in the middle of the park, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they probably would. But I like what we've seen in the past with Wilson and Isak together, and I think Osula just being an absolute robot, it would work really nicely because he would do a lot of the physical stuff that Isak just doesn't do properly. But yeah, we've come full circle. Everybody calling me a hipster. There's a 4-4-2, so shut up. Well, it's a 4-3-2, so yeah, whatever.
We know it's not going to happen.
Sorry, Barnes has got to go back.
He won't play Asula because he's.
Where's Jolinton gone? There he is.
He just won't. I mean, I'm pretty much sure that'll be the lineup. But it's unless he goes Gordon left, Miggy right. But I don't think Miggy's going to get in the team now. I think he's on his way in January. I don't think Eddie Howe has any big plans for Miggy to stick him in the really big games at the minute. And we've seen that this season. He's come on for a couple of minutes here and there. So I don't think he's in his plans. I really don't.
Potentially.
But I think his contract due? Oh, I'm looking at Cole Palmer. Let's not look at him anymore.
Oh, let's not.
Almiron. 2026. So he's got a year at the end of this season, and he is 30.
Oh, magical. Now. That's fantastic.
Nearly 31.
He'll be 31 in the summer, and he'll still have a year left on his contract.
Alex, go down and look at his stats for Newcastle United, will you? Because we haven't highlighted this for a while.
1,700 minutes?
Not them, his appearances and stuff.
Oh, what, over his career?
With Newcastle, yeah.
So we have obviously his goal scoring season with 11 goals and 2 assists. Last year was 3 goals, 1 assist. Yeah. I mean, he had the famously long lack of goal scoring when he first came under Rafa, didn't he? That was quite comical. Even though he was quite good when he first joined, he couldn't hit a barn door either. He kept getting through on goal and just missing. Yeah, it's not great. For people that crucified Maxi, I mean, this is worse.
Oh, here we go.
Well,
do you know what, Billy? Do you know what?
Wait. Nice little segue, guys.
He's playing tonight against Man United. I know.
Playing tonight against Man United. So this is a repeat of the Carabao Cup final for Maxi.
Oh, will you stop the love story? I mean, he's mentioning it every show now, Billy. He mentioned him last night. He had to get him in on a transfer show. It's unbelievable. The love he's got for this man is crazy. It's crazy.
Incidentally, Leroy Sané, I think, would be a great signing as kind of companion for Target. One with X-Men, one with the Crabs.
Yeah, I mean that I will never believe what I read on that transfer on that.
No, I
show
know Billy
last night.
definitely did watch the transfer.
It's totally insane. Oh, insane, I should say.
I mean, listen, what he does with his wife is his business, but it obviously took its toll. Right, let's do the predictions and get your predictions in the chat, guys. Let's see what you guys think for a score. Alex, we'll start with you tonight.
I think we will lose 2-1, but at least we've scored a goal.
Okay. And who's going to get that goal, Alex, is the big thing.
Oh, chance. I'll have to pull it out of a hat. Not a clue. I'm going to go with... I think it's going to be nonsense again. I think it'll be some scrappy goal from... I need to pick someone. I don't know. Based on the last two games, guys, I've got no idea how we can score a goal. We don't look like scoring.
Well, if it helps, Alex,
you should have picked someone nil, then, Alex, didn't you?
I should have picked nil. Yeah, I'll go with Barnes because he's the only one who can hit the net. So yeah,
there is a lot of people. I've seen 2 so far, or 3, saying Newcastle will win. Ed, I think you've been very optimistic, mate. Wow. I mean, I'd love it. We'd be jumping from the rafters if that's the case. But Billy, what are you going for?
3-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, same score as me. I've got 3-0 Chelsea as well. I just don't see us scoring at Chelsea. They are prone to mistakes, Chelsea, at the back. But I think, if we look at the goals that conceded against Liverpool, I think that, the penalty, I mean, that was just a rash. Colwell, I think, wasn't it, brought Salah down. They are, but it's just getting up there. And and causing them problems that I'm worried about.
I hope we're wrong. But
Gordon and Isak can't continue to miss forever. They've got to score.
Kick Gordon early doors. They've done that every time.
That's a lovely thing to say, isn't it? Long to have to score with Paul's misses. Well, I am very lucky that she only has eyes for me, so stick it. Anyway, 3-0, I think, but I think we all want Newcastle to win, however. That's just a given, but we have to be realistic when we're doing the predictions.
But be prepared for Gordon to get kicked, because every time we play him, they kick him early doors.
Well, Caicedo targets him, doesn't he, every single time?
Usually takes him about an hour to bring him off as well after he's substitute him, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. But there you go, guys. That is it for the preview. Don't forget, tomorrow we have 2 shows as usual. 11 o'clock in the morning is the press conference reaction. It might be spicy tomorrow. We just don't know. It will depend what Eddie will say about certain players to get our tempers rising a little bit. And then we're back at 7 o'clock with, of course, TTR Friday, the very best way to start your weekend. And we'll have a good laugh on there and look forward to the game again. Get you guys on how you're feeling ahead of the game. And, of course, how you're feeling about Newcastle United in general. And then Sunday, of course, Match Day Live, a 1:30 start with me and Billy, an analysis from Mr. Stato, of course. Looking forward to that. Hopefully, we'll have our new graphics up and running by then. And that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to all the memberships and super chats. And, of course, thank you again to the mods and Billy and Alex. And to you guys out there, thank you for spending an hour with us on your Thursday evening. And we will do it all again tomorrow. But in the meantime, have a great night and take care.
Away the lads and lasses.
Come back and check on some breathing.
Ah!